All right, check this out. In this video, we're gonna do some rear brakes on a 2020 Volvo XC40. I'm assuming you got here because you got quoted $900 to maybe $1,200 to do the rear brakes from the dealer, and we can do it a lot cheaper than that. To do this brake job, these are the tools that I used. If you need any of these tools, there will be links in the description. 1/2-inch impact. The electronic parking brake needs to be retracted, so you need a special scan tool. This is a fairly inexpensive one. Definitely check that out. This made it super easy. Hammer socket set, you're going to need a 14 and a 15 millimeter socket, and then a 19 millimeter socket to take off the wheels. Caliper hangers, straight blade screwdriver, ratchet, a T30 socket, caliper compressing tool. You don't need a special one, just a basic one works. Wire brush, and a couple of torque wrenches. All right, let's get into the brake job. I jacked the vehicle up, took the rear tires off, and then I got into using the scan tool to retract the electronic parking brake. EBP reset. Right there. Brake pad replacement. Maintenance mode. Maintenance mode. Now this is a quick version of what you need to do. For the full version with the tool, there is a link in the video. You can check that out up here. All right, it released. We'll hit OK. Now we're going to shut the key off and disconnect the tool. Now we're going to take off the caliper bolts. You're going to use the 14 millimeter socket. Take the upper one and the lower one off. And then you can pull the caliper off. We're going to use the caliper hanger and just hang it so that the brake line isn't getting too much tension on it. Then we're using the 15 millimeter socket. Take off the caliper bracket. Those two bolts came off really hard. There is some thread lock adhesive on there, so if you just use a breaker bar to break them free, you're still going to need a lot of force just to get those off. This is a T30. We're going to need to use a wire wheel and clean up that hub surface a little bit. Once we do that, we just put a little anti-seize here that just keeps corrosion from slowing down. And we'll clean off the rotor. Use a little bit of soapy water, that helps. You could also use some brake parts cleaner, but I like to use soapy water. And we'll put that rotor screw back in. Just snug it up, nothing crazy. Oops, watch it. Then with the brake pad clips off, then we can clean underneath the caliper bracket, get any of the corrosion there. I like to use a little bit of silicone here. This is again a New England thing. You don't have to do this, but it helps out just to slow corrosion down. It's not gonna stop it, but it'll. And put the clips back on. We'll do that on both sides. Right, so this one goes on the inside, the two pins at the top. Slides good. That slides good. Put the springs on. Normally I take the pins out before I put the brake pads on. This time I just pull them out after. So you want to pull the pins out of the caliper bracket, wipe them down with a rag, and then put some silicone lubricant on those, silicone paste. Now you can take the caliper bracket, reinstall it over the new rotor with the pads in there. Get the caliper bolts in, get those started. Sometimes the brake rotors come with the new bolts. They did in this situation, and we got some Loctite. It came with Loctite already on the bolts. So tighten those down. Again, it's going to be a little tricky, so you're going to have to use some force to tighten those down. There. Then we're going to compress the caliper. You just need a regular compressing tool. You don't need anything special that spins or anything. We just started that. And then make sure that's compressed all the way down. Should slide over. After the rear brakes are completely together on both sides, then you can go back with the scan tool and take it out of maintenance mode. All right, so we already did maintenance mode. Exit from maintenance mode. Enter. And now the electronic parking brake's going. It's doing its thing. That should be it. And when that's done, put your wheels on, make sure you torque those and take it for a ride. I always make sure I pump the brake pedal and then double check the master cylinder reservoir and make sure there's plenty of brake fluid in there. If not, adjust accordingly. Thanks for checking out this video. If you want to help support this channel, definitely get those tools from the link in the description. That helps me out. I get a little bit of a commission for that, and it doesn't cost anything extra to you. Thanks.